What's going on, YouTube? Welcome back to the channel. For those of you stopping by for the first time, if you see something that you like here today, please don't forget to subscribe at some point. Those of you stopping by that have been here before, welcome back to TLTG Reviews, my friends. Glad you came to see me. So this was pretty heavily requested for a few weeks now. This is for you young fellas. Let's talk about some really good picks for back to school. Who knew? You're actually getting back to school during this craziness that 2020 has been. Well, I got some good fragrances to discuss with you. So stay tuned.
Shall we begin? Let's begin now.
So jumping off into the first one, I can assure you that there's nothing really expensive on this list. These are all affordable, within range. A few cheapies and a few that are kind of right above that cheapie range. It depends on what you consider a cheapie, but for the most part, everything here can be had for under $40, most in the $20 to $30 range, especially something like our first one, which is Lacoste Loam. Yeah, a lot of people may say go with the intense, but I find this is just a fresher, more citrusy version. The rhubarb's not as stout as it is in the intense. I have smelled the intense now. I don't own it yet, and I will get it. But I find the original is just a fantastic fragrance. Lacoste Loam is just that. It's youthful without being too youthful. It's pleasing without being too synthetic. It's fresh, but can still work in most occasions, most seasons, especially in climate control, like a classroom, for example. And it's kind of a must-have. I mean, really and truly, every young man should own a Lacoste fragrance, in my opinion, because they offer so many youthful, versatile, affordable fragrances, at least at discounters anyways. And Lacoste Loam, fantastic DNA. It's kind of a must. Next is a brand new release that if you're not following me on Instagram, which you should be if you're following me on here, you would have no idea that I have this fragrance. I actually wore it on Sunday. I did a first impressions exclusively on my Instagram page. It's the newest release from Ralph Lauren Polo in the red line. Polo Red Eau de Parfum. Yep, I did get a bottle recently. It is a tester bottle. I don't have the box with me right here. I have given it a wearing. I did, like I said, an exclusive on Instagram first impressions video. And I gotta say, if you watch that first impressions, it didn't really wow me. But as the day went on, the day I went shoot videos with Steve, Fragrance Fanatic, which his channel is linked below. Don't forget to check him out. That's my boy. Check him out. I was wearing this that day. He loved the way this smelled. Before I left the house, my wife loved it. The night before I had did the first impressions video, she could smell it in the living room. Was dying to know what I was wearing. The next day, ooh, are you wearing that again? It has some appeal. Don't get me wrong. I do feel that Polo Red Intense is a better fragrance, but that is also geared towards the cooler weather more. I feel like this shines year round. You know, I wore it in high heat, had no issues. Longevity was good. Projection, kind of heavy up front, but stayed within, you know, a decent range and mild little scent bubble for several hours. This definitely started growing on me once I gave it a full wearing, and I'll be giving another full wearing really soon. But I'm kind of changing how I felt because it was kind of meh for me upon first impression and first smell. But after giving it a full wearing, I can absolutely recommend this to some young bucks, because that's what I think of when I smell this fragrance. This screams young bucks. If you have Polo Red Intense already, I think it's a pass. But if you don't have Polo Red Intense, this is probably going to be one of the better ones to get. I haven't tried Extreme, but this is actually turning out to be a really solid release with solid performance, and it's already hitting discounters. Make sure you check this one out for back to school this year. Polo Red Eau de Parfum. Next, I haven't tried the Extreme, the newest flanker. From what I hear, it's fantastic, and it kind of gives this one a run for its money on best flanker from the Chrome line. You might know where I'm going with this. Chrome Aqua, because this one is fantastic. Haven't tried Extreme. I will get it eventually, but I did do a full review on this one not long ago. It has a familiarity but a uniqueness at the same time. It's a solid performer without being overbearing and loud, and it's light and airy and fresh and enjoyable, yet still has a bit of depth and density to it. It's got some character. It's got some character for sure. It's a good way to look at it. And you can get it in sub $40 range for a 100 ml bottle. even cheaper than that. Actually, you can get it in the low 30s, I believe, from Steve. Kingdom Fragrances down below. He's got great prices on stuff like this. That's where this bottle came from, actually, from Steve, Kingdom Fragrances. And one that I highly suggest, not just for the summertime, but kind of year round. It's almost signature scent worthy. Really and truly, if you just want something fresh, inviting, that's a decent performer, that's just going to have a cooling effect on you year round, this might be the one. Damn good fragrance. Great for any age, great for any situation, because it's never a bad time to smell fresh and clean. And this absolutely does that. Chrome Aqua. And next, with all the talk of the newest flanker, and yes, I have been hunting for it at the rack stores. I will find it eventually, because from what I understand, it smells like Invictus Aqua. I love Invictus Aqua. But for as good as all the flankers are in this line, I still think if you're going to enjoy the flankers, you got to try the original first. And this is from Abercrombie & Fitch. This is the original First Instinct. Fruity, gin and tonic, decent performer, very youthful. The girls are going to love this one on you. That's why Abercrombie & Fitch found this, they made this DNA, and they're running with it on flankers because it's so popular. The young bucks are wearing it because the young ladies like the way it smells. And for those of us that talk about it on these YouTube channels, it's because we enjoy it as well. And it's a really good recommendation for a younger gentleman, because that's what Abercrombie & Fitch is all about. It's a youthful clothing brand that happens to make some landmark fragrances. First Instinct's really good, but then you have Fierce. Their first big release from years ago that they're still hanging their hat on. And this is the predecessor. First Instinct is absolutely the predecessor line for this generation. Fierce was for my generation in high school. This is the one that's for your generation. Make sure to get your hands on a bottle. It's not that expensive, and it's actually a really good fragrance. And that's First Instinct from Abercrombie & Fitch. You know we got to have an Ambroxan heavy fragrance somewhere on this list, and the one I decided to go with happens to fall into the right price point. If you can get a big bottle, 100 milliliter for under 40, you know, Fragrance Net, Kingdom Fragrances, places like that. If you want to go to 60 ml like the bottle I have, it's even cheaper. It's in the 20s. Not the strongest performer, but a compliment machine. Very, very versatile. People are going to love the way you smell with Coach for Men. It's a fantastic fragrance. It always has been, ever since it came out. This is a great fragrance to have. I love the pear in the suede. And yes, the ambergris and amberwood is pretty much Ambroxan. But with the blend, yeah, it smells synthetic, don't get me wrong, because of all the Ambroxan, but I think it smells great. And the scent trail you're going to have, people around you are going to love it. 5 hours, maybe 6 if you're lucky, if you got kind of oily skin like I do. Projection's good for a solid hour and a half. Really good projection. People are easily going to smell you. Then you have a mild scent trail. It sits kind of close to the skin after that. But this is a crowd pleaser. Young ladies are going to like this one too, fellas. And you can wear this one for anything. You're going to love the way you smell. You can go on dates with this. You can go hang with your boys with this. You can refresh after the gym with this. You can do whatever you need. It's that versatile. Hell, it's even great with a suit. And that's Coach for Men. Next, so you say you like Dolce & Gabbana the one. You like wearing that to go on dates, go to dinner, things like that. Well, how about a daily wear, a fresher version of it, if you will. Dolce & Gabbana the one gray, you know, has gotten more love from the community here lately. When it first came out, people gave it the generic, basic, weak performer, I don't like it. But more and more people are coming around to it. They've been in the rack stores a few times. You can find them very easy online. It smells great. It's just a fresh version of Dolce & Gabbana the one. Oh man, it's not that Dolce & Gabbana the one wasn't wearable before, but this adds to that wearability. This is more versatile. This is fresher. It works in more settings, whereas that is ambery sweet tobacco that it has a seductiveness to it. It leans towards the evening wear much more. This leans towards daytime. This leans towards any time, because that DNA is still in there. You can still do the same things in the evening with this one that you can do with the original. This just adds a new level of wearability, still in a decently affordable price point, sub $40 range, depending on the size of bottle you want to get. It just smells great. Another compliment getter. It's just going to work, fellas. Dolce & Gabbana the One, gray. Next, this is in the same vein as Spice Bomb Night Vision, the Eau de Toilette, and Azzaro Wanted, that Invictus opening, sweet bubblegum kind of opening with a spicy dry down. And to be honest with you, for the money, this is really the way to go, because it's the cheapest one of the three, performs about the same, maybe not as well. You know, those do perform a little better. They're a little bit more expensive because of it. But Davidoff Run Wild, this is really good stuff that you can have for a great price. 50 ml like this, 20 or lower. Mid 20s-ish, definitely below 30 everywhere, from discounters that is, for the 100 milliliter bottle. Man, and I love the way it smells. I really do. And I have all three that I just named. As redundant of a purchase as this is, I still find room for it in the rotation. I still find time to talk about it because I think it's worth owning. It really is, especially for a younger man on a budget, back to school, going on dates, because this has that spiciness that the ladies tend to like, with that Invictus bubblegum opening that makes it very youthful. Like I said, very attractive for the young ladies. You're not going to spend a lot of money on it. Fantastic buy for this school year. Davidoff Run Wild. So a lot of what we've talked about so far has been very fresh. You know, some a little bit more versatile, go year round, but nothing really geared towards the cold weather yet. You know, this made my back to school list last year for the cold weather, and it's going to do it again because I'm a firm believer in every young man that's into fragrances, at least any young man that wants more than one fragrance should get a bottle of this, because for $20 at all discounters pretty much, you can have a 100 milliliter bottle. You can get a 200 milliliter bottle for 30. And it's a great way to dip your toe into a sweet tobacco. It's from Calvin Klein, CK1 Shock. This is a must-have winter fragrance. When you're starting your collection, and especially for the younger men out there, this is, like I said, this is like the starter tobacco fragrance. This was my first tobacco fragrance. It's got a nice mandarin orange up top. I think it's a tangerine actually up top, and a beautiful, sweet, juicy, wet tobacco, you know, and it performs decent. Is it going to be some screamer and projection and go 12 hours? No, it's not going to do any of that, but you're going to get 6 to 8 hours. You know, that's perfectly fine. I tend to lean towards the 8-hour mark, and it does project pretty well for the first 2 hours with a nice little scent trail following, and it's very pleasing. For being a tobacco fragrance, it's probably one of the most wearable, easily wearable tobacco fragrances on the market. Sold a lot of bottles. You can get them cheap. Calvin Klein always hits you with the versatile stuff, and this is definitely one of their more easy to wear, versatile, cooler weather fragrances that I'm probably have on this list every year that I do it, because I'm a firm believer. And if you're looking for a good cold weather tobacco fragrance for a young man, CK1 Shock. It's hard to beat. Next, so you really like the way Bleu de Chanel smells. I understand. Very, very popular fragrance, but you know, can't really shell out the money for it. They don't really get them heavily discounted. You know, you got a budget of $20, $30, maybe even $40, which this list applies. But you wanted something that smells similar. So if you were to take that incense out of it, maybe not so much ambroxan, you want something that's kind of a really similar smell that's very cheap, you could go with Salvatore Ferragamo Aqua Essenziale, the original, the light blue juice, not the dark blue. Yes, I love blue, the dark blue, it's my favorite. But in this situation, to add some more versatility, because not every young man's gonna like a powdery dry down, because blue tends to get a little powdery for some. I've had people in the comments talk about, I never bring up how powdery it gets in dry down. I love powdery. That's why I love that fragrance. But this definitely smells like an incense-less version of Bleu de Chanel, the Eau de Toilette, the citrus heavy version. It works really well. It's a decent performer, 5-6 hour fragrance. Decent projection up top, and you can get them really cheap. This is a 1 ounce bottle you can get for like $10, $12. 100 milliliter bottles you can get around 20-ish to 25. Great signature scent worthy stuff that just smells really, really good. You know, Salvatore Ferragamo, they don't really put out anything bad. Pretty much if you see it's a fragrance from Salvatore Ferragamo, there's a good chance you'll end up liking it, because just about everything they put out, can't say everybody likes everything, you know. But from my standpoint, I have a lot of what they've released for men. And they're all good to me. And this absolutely falls into the really good, especially for the money. Aqua Salvatore Ferragamo. And last but not least, you know, when it comes to fresh fragrances, there's one that girls tend to really like. That's why they've sold a lot of bottles of this. Young men, this is a bottle you guys tend to strive to get. That's the, you know, what I've gathered over the years anyways. It's because of the name. It's got a cool bottle design. And like I said, the young ladies really love this for a fresh fragrance. It's highly complimented. They sold a lot of bottles of Versace Mano Fraiche. You know, this is a smaller 1 ounce bottle, but still maintains that bottle design. I've always thought the bottle was cool for Versace Man. I still need to get the original, the purple bottle, the tobacco. But that's not the one we're talking about today. We're talking about Mano Fraiche. So why do I pick this over Chrome Sport? Well, at the end of the day, the younger guys are going to be wanting that name recognition. They're going to want to look at that Versace bottle on their dresser. I get it. You're more conscious about brand awareness when you're a younger guy. I totally get that. So you might not want Chrome Sport. I would suggest cheaper alternative, Chrome Sport. Smells pretty much the same. But if you want to shell out the money because they're not that much more expensive, get your bottle of Versace Mano Fraiche. This is tried and true. This always works. You can wear this year round. Because it's a citrus heavy summer fragrance, don't think you can't wear it in the winter. You can wear whatever you want, anytime you want. And this is highly sought after for the young bucks from what I have gathered because the young ladies love this one. Versace Mano Fraiche, kind of a must have. Well, that was my 10 picks for getting back to school this year, fellas. And until next time, do me a real quick favor. Go ahead and like, comment, subscribe. Do appreciate all the feedback. I love hearing from you guys. How many of you are looking to get the ones we discussed today? You know, a lot of these you can get from Kingdom Fragrances, linked down below. If not, FragranceNet, Fragrance X, sellers on eBay, Amazon. There's always places to get your hands on these. A lot of really good fragrances on this list. I enjoy them. That's why I got them. Now let me know down below. Do you have some of these already? How do you feel about them? Until next time, I will say, if you get your hands on any of these, give them a spray now. You might end up thanking me later. Have a good one, guys.
This is not a drill.